Hi everyone, my name is John Tian and my project is on Lyme disease and its effects on the human body. So as I was looking through what to study as I was going through this project, I really wanted to focus on what the Lyme disease is, and thesis I came up with is Lyme disease is a flu-like ailment that affects the human body and can be deadly to children and the elderly due to their weaker immune systems. So here in my project, what I was working on, what I will talk about in this presentation is what Lyme disease is, the main symptoms, mostly the earlier symptoms, how Lyme disease is spread, what happens with untreated Lyme disease, the late symptoms and prevention, and I will also talk about treatment. Lyme disease and what is Lyme disease? Lyme disease is known as Lyme borreliosis. It is an infectious disease caused by bacteria of the Borrelia type, which is spread by ticks. The most common way it is spread is by the deer tick, and it can also be spread by some type of mice. I couldn't really find the name of the mice that is most common to spread it, but Lyme disease is also an inflammatory disease caused by bacteria Borrelia burgdorferi, which is the scientific name for it, and it is transmitted to humans through an infected deer tick in the vulnerable spots on a human being. So the early and the main symptoms of Lyme disease is rashes, which I have pictures of here to the right, and you can just tell that this just isn't something you want, and you can see it's in the vulnerable areas under your armpits, on your legs. What else? Another things you could get is fever, rashes, chills, fatigue, so being always tired, headaches that just don't go away, numbness in hands and legs, joint pain primarily in your knees and the larger joints, and you could also suffer from short-term memory loss. One of the main things when looking at Lyme disease is trying to figure out how it is spread. So from my research, I found out that Lyme disease is spread into the human body and could also be into other animals by a bite from an infected deer tick. These ticks are usually found in heavily wooded areas, but could also be found in grass and backyards, also in bushes, anything that could hold a bug. Ticks need to be attached to the body for 36 to 48 hours before they can transmit Lyme disease bacteria. The ticks that usually affect the human are less than 2 millimeters, so you can just imagine how small those are. You barely even see them when they get on your body. The bites are usually found in hard to see areas such as your groin, armpits, and scalp, like really vulnerable areas when you're outside in the woods. Something could just brush up against a tree or against a bush, and all of a sudden you could just have the bugs on you and you wouldn't even know. So now we have untreated Lyme disease, where if you do not treat it, it could actually become very dangerous to your body. And what I found was arthritis is more than likely to occur as pain and swelling in large joints, such as the knees. So if you think of someone who has arthritis and they're always just in pain, that will be you if you don't end up treating your Lyme disease. Nervous system symptoms can include numbness, pain, nerve paralysis, and meningitis. So your body can be totally screwed with if you don't treat this, and your nervous system could end up shutting down. Something that's very uncommon but could also happen is irregularities of the heartbeat. So your heart could start beating out of the norm and your body could shut down from that. Problems with your memory or concentration. So you can suffer from fatigue, more headaches, and sleep disturbances. Something else that could happen, but is also very rare, is that Lyme disease could be fatal if it's not treated at all or treated properly. So some facts about Lyme disease is that there are over 329,000 new cases of Lyme disease each year in the U.S. And out of those, there even with those, there are 500,000 Americans suffering from long-term or late-stage Lyme disease, and most people are not diagnosed. This just kind of shows how much Lyme disease has grown in the recent years, and it's going to keep growing unless we do something about it. Okay, so here I just have a quick little video that I wanted to show from NBC on Lyme disease and the ticks and how it's so rapidly spreading around the United States. Okay, so here we have the late symptoms of Lyme disease, which if you get to this point, it's already too late. But what we have here is severe headaches and neck stiffness, arthritis with severe joint pain and swelling, particularly the knees and other large joints. Again, the parts that are most likely to suffer from arthritis. Facial palsy, which is the loss of muscle tone or droop on one or both sides of the face, and intermittent pain in tendons, muscle, joints, and bones. So this is kind of like if you had growing pains or if you had shin splints, something just like pain in one part of your body that just hurts way more than it should at certain times. So now I have even more late symptoms. So what we have here is heart palpitations or an irregular heartbeat, which should be treated because that could lead to your death. Episodes of dizziness or shortness of breath. So what that was compared to is kind of like having asthma, could hit you at any moment. Inflammation of the brain and spinal cord. You could have nerve pain, shooting pains, numbness or tingling in the hands or feet, and problems with short-term memory loss. All these things could be dealt with if you get the proper treatment, but if it gets to this point, it could already be too late for you, and you need to see a doctor to figure it out. So, with prevention of Lyme disease, know where ticks are and be conscious of them, and use EPA registered insect repellent, which I have pictured below. It's mostly the cutter. It's all types of just like bug spray that's just very powerful. Cover up exposed skin with long sleeve shirts. You could wear hoods, long pants, high socks. And another thing you could do is perform daily tick checks in and around vulnerable areas. So if you go out into the woods, when you come back inside, check around your body, your armpits, your groin, behind your knees, places like that for ticks. Be alert for fever or rash. If you get the rash, don't hesitate to go to a doctor and figure it out. And after being outdoors, shower within 2 hours of being back inside. That way the ticks don't have time to settle in and you can get them off your body as soon as possible. So the treatment for Lyme disease is very simple, and it could be very easily treated in the early stages of Lyme disease. Medication, so for adults and children over the age of 8, they recommend taking doxycycline and amoxicillin for children and women who are nursing or breastfeeding. And it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for the elimination of the infection, but could take longer depending on how long it was on your body and how much it affected you. Okay, so that's all I have. Thank you to everyone for paying attention, and are there any questions that I can help answer?